Okay, hey everyone. Happy Tuesday. So good to see all of your lovely faces. Crystal, did you cut your hair? Oh, I was like, you look like you cut your hair. I was like,
no,
you got a bob.
Hiding it.
It's so good to see you all, and I am back from California and missing the beach, but glad to be here with all of you. And oh my gosh, so much good stuff going on. But you know what? I think let's start out with a gratitude shout out, whoop whoops. Congratulate somebody. Tell me something good that's going on in your world.
I just got a call from my boyfriend, and he tried to get his daughter on Isogenics when we first started 2 years ago, and she wasn't having any part of it because she thought the ingredients were bad. Well, now that she has seen his blood work come back from the doctor, and it's been amazing, she started doing her research, and she said to him just a little while ago, Dad, I don't know much about this and these point things, but I feel like I need to sign up and learn about this. And so I just sent him the video of Business of the Future, that 6-minute video.
Nice.
Share this one with her, because that will get her. She's a business person, she's got the mindset. She doesn't want to go work for anybody else. So, and his doctor is on board sharing it with her patients.
Nice. Congratulations. Yeah. Isn't it awesome to get your blood work done so they can watch? Yeah, right? It's a powerful thing because they get to witness it. I love it. Thanks for sharing. Anyone else want to hop in? And Crystal.
I always do. I would love to shout out some people on my team of always. We had a couple of enrollments this week, which is super exciting. So I'm excited for Vonda. She's been planting seeds and has enrolled 1 or 2 people this week. I know you've been talking to me about a bunch of people. So one so far.
One so far, but my sister, the end of the week, I think for the end of the week, and I'm still waiting on that guy, Sean.
Oh, that's all right. His time.
So,
awesome.
Yeah, I'm giving him time.
Yes.
Way to
Vonda
go.
had one, and Molly, who I think might be coming on to this call at some point. If not, I think she's going to listen. Sarah, I think she might be on. Sarah Koval has had some amazing conversations, and she shared with somebody who became a consultant this week. So that is excellent. She's halfway there to manager. Sherry had an enrollment this week. Pam had 2 enrollments this week. So it was a really great week, and I'm excited for more.
Thank you for sharing. Way to go, everyone. That's exciting. Yay.
I have a customer, and she's interested in becoming an associate, and she's interested in oils. Nice. So we came up with an idea. She works in a hospital. We made some mask spray out of our defense shield, and she's going to go and she sprays her mask, and so she's going to offer if anybody would like to try her mask spray. So she's got her bottle of essential oil, her mask spray, and then we have a little survey questionnaire card that they can fill out, and we can get back with them.
Love it. Great ideas. Tell us what's in the mask spray. Is it just straight defense shield, or?
My dog's decided to barge in and bark.
No, you're fine.
So
dogs are part of the family.
This is a 1 ounce bottle with a little cap. And so this is about $1 on Amazon, pack of 12. And so there is just a pinch of Epsom salt, some distilled water, and I have 20 drops of the defense shield. And the salt kind of emulsifies the oil into the water, so it's not just sitting on top. And so you can kind of use it as a room detox, an air detox, kind of like you're diffusing. or you can spray the mask and let it sit. So it'll freshen the mask and it makes it smell good. It's not overpowering. Just kind of spray it, let it sit, let it dry. You can wear it and it'll detox the air as you're breathing, and it's a lot better than just a kind of a stale mask.
What a great idea. We have so many health coworkers on here right now who are constantly in a mask as well. So that I'm sure that just gave them all a really good idea. So thanks for sharing. That's such a great idea. Awesome.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Thank you. Thank you. Miss Pam, how are you? Good to see you.
Okay.
We would love to hear your 30-second story.
Okay, I'll give it a whirl. I'm not really a public speaker, but you guys are my people, so I think I can whip it off.
Absolutely.
All right. I started Isogenics a year and a half ago. I was introduced by Crystal. She was a former trusted coworker. I originally used it to supplement my exercise, but now I only have to exercise an hour a week. And despite that, I've lost 25 pounds. And at age 44 now, have better abs than I did when I was a 3-sport varsity athlete. So I love the products. I know they work. I trust their quality. I trust the integrity of the company and its leaders. I love sharing the products and coaching people to maximize their use. I love the mindset, mentorship, friendship, encouragement, growth, passion, and positivity of the people that use these products and share them. And I wouldn't want to be anywhere else for such a time as this.
Yay. So good. Thank you. Good job, everybody. Give her a big high five. So that's so good. And you know, a lot of times we get invited to share our story, and you know, and I know we've all experienced it and we've all done it. We just get up in front of the room and either the person that's sharing shares their whole entire life story and it takes a really long time and we're just so passionate, or we just share too much of the fluff of our story instead of just sharing the meat, right? So instead of it being a 30-second story, it ends up being a 3-minute or a 10-minute or a 20-minute story. And so what I'm always thinking, and now there's time and place for everything, right? There's a time for a 30-second story. There's a time for a 2-minute story. There's a time for your 10-minute story. When you're in front of the room and you're teaching a piece and you're sharing and you're helping people understand how you got involved and why you got involved, that would be a longer story than just 30 seconds, right? But for something like this, where I can just go, hey, Pam, share your 30-second story. She's already got that ready to go because she's worked on it. She's already created all of these little 30-second stories. Now imagine having a presentation where you have people in the audience who are 30-second story versed. They've already created their 30-second story. So I can at any point during my presentation just point and go, hey, Jane, can you share your 30-second story? And she's ready to go. And I can do that. Or what if you could line up 10 people in the front of the room and we could do 30-second story after 30-second story. We could do 10 stories in 3 minutes instead of having one person do a 3-minute long story, right? So it becomes so powerful when you have all of these little stories. So what we want to do today, first of all, is just let you guys, you know, thank you guys for being here and for stepping in, and I'm so excited to see what everyone's doing, and I feel that this is just one part of that learning and that growth process that's just going to help you guys be more effective when you're connecting with people. You know, you could tell that 30-second story in between, you know, floor 1 and floor 5 in an elevator. And so when you think about that, it's powerful. So we want to teach you guys how to craft your 30-second story, and know that you're going to have more than one, because think about it. Like, Pam, how many things, just as for instance, how many things happened for you? Let's just think about them. Somebody, hey Sarah, are you able to type? As she's giving the things, will you type into the chat the things that she's saying? So some of the things, just bullet points of what's happened for you. And Sarah's going to type them in the chat.
What's happened since the beginning?
From the beginning.
All right. Well, So this will be a longer explanation.
Yeah, so just give me bullet points. So I lost weight. I feel better. So
Okay.
just give me the bullet points of it.
Okay. One of the first things I noticed was performance. I was at risk of hitting my head on the ceiling from jumping so high. Energy, sleep, improved mood, the weight loss, and just a better outlook on life. And then it gave me hope, because my mom died at 55, and just learning about the telomere health gave me hope that I don't have to be a victim to my bad genes, that I can be proactive. And then I started seeing the vision of, having my own isopantry, and then replacing my actual full-time income and going more into treatment of illness, and instead of going into prevention of illness, and then seeing the real global impact we could have, and just the community. Love it.
Great. So if we think of all of those things, and as you move through them, right, we could make that into one story, but each one of them is actually a separate story. So 30-second story, you can build around every single one of those little bullet points. And how many, as a mother, how many mothers or healthcare workers do you think need energy and more sleep and improved mood, right? Almost everyone, especially right now. So that becomes this really big story. And so let me, I want to share
Can I ask a quick question? Pam, can you say that again when you said I don't have to be a victim to my genes?
My bad genes.
That was really good.
My mom died at 55, so it just gave me hope that I didn't have to be a victim of my bad genes. Her mom died at 45.
Okay.
So I literally used to say to people, I have bad genes. It's sad to me, now I have hope. And it took a couple months, but I was like, this is life-changing.
That's
to not think that I would have to orphan my kids at 25 years old, 27.
That's the other thing. Sarah, will you type in there hope and some of the things that she just said, so we can come back to that. So what I want to do is share my screen with you guys, because this is what I want you to think about. So our 30-second story rules of thumb. First of all, we always want to be compliant. So we don't want to talk about disease processes. We don't want to say I got cured. Yeah, we want to be really careful and keep our company safe, right? Compliancy is a huge thing. And if you're ever wondering, can I say this or can I say that, we can always help you craft it in a more compliant way. Keep it very simple. No verbal vomit. So we don't want to overdo it, right? So we could tell a whole story about Pam's feeling around her mom and her hope, and right, that could be this whole huge long story, and that we are going to craft that into an amazing in front of the room telling her story piece. But for a 30-second story, we're not going to overdo that. It's going to be a really quick bullet pointed thing. So make it quick. Start to time yourself as you're practicing. Definitely time yourself. Practice all of your stories. And we all have more than one, and we're going to go over how we're going to figure that out. And then when you're done practicing, practice again. When you're in front of the shower, blow drying your hair, practice your 30-second story. Call up your accountability partner. Say, can I practice my 30-second story with you? Call up somebody that you're prospecting and say, I'm practicing my 30-second story. Can I share it with you? And get feedback. Ask them for feedback. Always, always tell the truth, right? We are master embellishers sometimes, and we love to add fluff to it, but we don't have to. Our results are so incredible. We don't have to do that. We can just tell the truth. Be a story collector. So we collect friends, we collect stories, because maybe the person that you're meeting is completely opposite from you. Maybe, Pam, they had 200 pounds to lose, and that isn't a story that you can relate to personally, because you didn't have 200 pounds to lose. But we have a story that we can share with her that is someone else's 30-second story. So we can always share someone else's story. We can always invite someone else in to share their 30-second story with that person. So we always want to keep a running list of stories. And I love to do that inside of my Trello, but now we have Penny, where you could keep that content in your penny where you always know how you can relate back to somebody. So if you put them all under weight loss or you put them all under different categories, you can have all those stories saved there so you can always share them or reach out to the person whose story it is and ask them to share them. And because if we listen to what they say, we're always going to be able to relate back to their story of what they want. Sometimes we go in with this agenda that we want to share our story and we want their story to mold into what ours is. But if we step back and really listen to what they say and ask questions, then we're going to be able to relate the story to what they're desiring, what they want in their life instead of molding it to us, right? So these are just some of the key pieces. So let's look at the 30-second story. So I'm just going to use my little template that I have so you guys can see it, and I can also share this in the group. So you can use the Forever Pack for this, you can use isogenesis for this, you can say telomere support, you can say DNA repair, you can say system, but no matter what, when you look at before Isagenix, I was, and Pam, we can use any of those words, right? So let's just pick one key word of I had no energy and I was feeling hopeless, right? So, and then what we want to do, so I had no energy and I was feeling hopeless would go right here on that heading. And then there would be 3 descriptors that would go along with that. Every single day I needed a pot of coffee. I'm just embellishing because I don't know for sure, but let's say you add your words into that. So what would be 3 descriptors that you would use for how you were feeling prior to?
Well, I was overworking to maintain my weight. I was working out 6 days a week for 60 minutes a day.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have a lot more time freedom. I've saved hours in my week.
Right. So let's think of so always think beginning, we're going to give it a heading of how I felt before, which is the bad part. And then we're going to give 3 negative descriptors of how you were feeling then. So I had no energy. Even when I slept 10 hours, I was still exhausted. I always needed a pot of coffee, like whatever that is.
I required a ton more sleep for my entire life up until when I started Isagenix. I had to have 8 hours of sleep every single day or I was a monster. And now I only need 5.
Right. And so what kind of a mom were you if you were a monster?
Right. Not a very patient one.
Right. And so that's a whole part of it. So that could be a whole nother heading. Prior to Isagenix, I was a mean mom. I was angry all the time. I was not present for my kids. So when we think about the stories that get weaved into that, there's all these little 30-second stories that we can write. And so you guys, as we're doing this, I want you to start thinking about the heading for some of your stories. So for yourself, write down the things that have taken place for you and start to create all these different headings. So with the headings, we're going to go with, this is what I felt like before. Here's 3 descriptors of how I felt. So like mine was, I was a stressed out business owner. I had to be at my shop 365 days a year. I was stressed every single day and needed a pot of coffee, and my health was failing, right? So I could weave that in. So 3 things that weave into that heading. And so I was introduced to this system by my friend Dave. Now, why do I say my friend Dave? Does anybody know why I would say it like that?
Because we're showing them that they're sharing what the next step would be as far as sharing with their friends.
Exactly. There's another key piece to that of why I would say my friend Dave. Or my sister Sherry, or my husband Vinny.
You trusted him.
We do business with people we like, know, and trust.
Exactly. So when we are saying that I was introduced to the system, I was introduced to this amazing DNA repair, however you want to say it, you can weave that in however you want. So I was introduced to the system. So Pam's going to say I was introduced to this amazing system by my friend Crystal. She always is so smart. I used to say all the time, I was introduced by my sister Sherry. She She always, even when she messes up, does the best. Right? She always gets it right. No matter, even when she messes up, she gets it right. So I've been taking or sharing Isogenics, so depending which side you're talking about. So I've been taking the system for 15 years. What does that tell you if I say 15 years? What does it say, Pam? 3 years? Are we 3 years? 2 years?
A year and a half.
A year and a half. So I've been taking the system for a year and a half. What does that tell you?
That it works if
That it's not a 30-day thing, that it's a lifestyle, right? That it's not just a, you know, in and out, I'm going to hop in, and it shows that you're doing something long-term, that you're shifting a lifestyle. So we're giving it a heading. We're sharing descriptors of how we felt negatively. We're saying who we were introduced by, my friend, and even if it was somebody you just met online, I mean, are they your friend now? They're your friend now, right? Or it doesn't, so it's always my friend or my sister or my husband. So somebody that's close to you, that would show credibility and trust. How long have you been taking it, sharing it? So I've been taking Isogenics for a year and a half, and as a result, I now have more energy than I know what to do with. I was jumping through the roof. I was jumping so high and had so much energy. I was in such a good mood that I was having fun with my kids. My kids were seeing me in a different light, like however that looks. So well, as a result, I now, what 3 things would you put to that, Pam, that have to do with the 3? So let's say 1, 2, and 3 at the top were the negatives. Now just make that the opposite and put the positives down at the bottom that took place.
There's so many.
Right? That's why we need more than one 30-second story, right?
And like a big part of it for me was the safety and the convenience. Recently, I mean, convenience is just like, I did a little story the other day. I was in my house 1 minute and 8 minutes later had all my shakes for the whole day down the road at an oil change. So I was stressed, and now I have like a plan every single day that I don't think twice about. Get clean, nutritious food in my body.
Love it. Love it. And so as a result, I now, and then you give it some descriptors, and then I now what? Now, I now believe, like you said, I now believe that, you know, we need to share this with the whole world. I now believe that we can impact our whole community with this. And so you can also add in, we used to add in that little bottom line. I'm so excited to share with you because I know what you're experiencing is a telomere issue, right? So if somebody says to me, I have, you know, any of these issues, and I'm going to share my 30-second story, I can add in that I'm excited to share with them because I know what they're experiencing comes back to telomeres, right? So that's just a little piece that you can add in if you want to. You don't have to, because these 3 things, like this little system, the heading with the 1, 2, 3, who you were introduced by, how long you've been taking it, and as a result, you now are experiencing these opposite things. And now I believe that I have to share this, my moral obligation that I have to share with everybody I meet. Now this can be, I mean, I probably have, I don't know, 15 or 20 different 30-second stories, depending on who I'm talking to. I can tell my story, I can tell my husband's story, Pam, I can tell your story. Right, so there's all of these things that I can pull from, but just inside my own life, I have my mother's story, I have my sister's story, I have my husband's story, I have my story, and inside of my story, there are multiple facets to that. So it's not ever just one. So when you start to write down all of the headings that have taken place for you, so all of those long list of things that have happened, and you write a 30-second story for each one, you will have a whole arsenal that you can pull from at a moment's notice.
Can I share something?
Please.
So the purpose of this, the way it's constructed, Jojo was explaining that it's very specific in the characteristic that it's a quality that you're feeling, but it's universal. And then, so if your first example is I had no energy in the before section, then in the as a result section, it should be the exact opposite of low energy. And the reason for that is because people want to hear what your life was like before, and then the continuity of how it's different now, because I know we totally want to share like all the different ways it's helped. And if you wanted to be succinct and keep it tight, there's a very specific reason for the way this format is laid out. And one of the things that was a hard pill to swallow was that, like, nobody cares about your story. They only care about their story. So keeping it super general sometimes is the opposite of what it feels counterintuitive. Like if I say that I was tired all the time, I was losing muscle mass and I felt uncomfortable in my own skin, I don't need to say that I've always been skinny all my life and then have this person who is struggling with weight loss totally check out. But the fact that I said that I'm uncomfortable in my own skin, they can relate with that too. So this is just a way to, I think, kind of grab people's attention in a general way.
Such a great point. Thank you for sharing that. And it is true. No one cares about our story. They only care about their own story. They're sharing with you that there's something going on, and you're sharing back with them what's happened for you. And if we go too far into that, they will absolutely check out, because we want to be able to relate to what they're doing. So if I share this 30-second story and then I immediately go into a question to them, they've told me that they have no energy. Well, I've just told them that I used to have no energy. Now I have all this amazing energy. How would it feel for you if you had energy like that? And give them a future speak. Like, how amazing would that be? Or how does it affect your life every day because you don't have the energy that you want? How do you see it show up for yourself? As you're sharing all of that, it creates all of these amazing questions for us to be able to get back into their story. We've told our story. Now we want to really understand what the goal is for them. Does that help? And I can post this up so you guys can have this format, but this is really it's the simple heading 1, 2, 3. Who introduced you? How long have you been taking it? What's your result? And always know your 1, 2, 3 at the top should be mirrored opposite with your 1, 2, 3 at the bottom.
This is going to take a while to get it right because it feels wrong. You're like, but wait, I want to say this. So Jojo said practicing with people is huge. So don't just practice with your accountability partner. I love the idea of calling up people who you feel comfortable with, like call your family or something. And just say, can I borrow you for 5 minutes? I'm practicing and I would love to, number one, get your feedback. I want to get your feedback. And these are the two things that I want from you. 1, what did you like best? And 2, what could I do better in? When you're super specific, people will listen differently and they'll be like, oh, okay, I know you're not pitching me. You actually want my feedback. So, and it's honest feedback. And maybe like some people have said, it was really short. I want to know more. Those people are people who are interested. So, but like just giving feedback, it's really good practice. So 2 things. What did you like best? And what could I improve upon? And you're just asking people, it's 30 seconds, right? So do you have 5 minutes? I would love, thanks, Crystal. I would love to, I have an assignment and I'm practicing. Could I borrow you for 5 minutes? This is what I'm looking for.
And I would even say that as part of your reach outs and your penny every single day, as you're doing a reach out, say, hey, could you hop on the phone for 1 minute? I would love to practice on you. So cool, right? Remember that we want to, you know, we don't always know ahead of time what that person is looking for when we're doing that. But if you're chatting with somebody and you already know that they have a basis of an outline of what they want for their goals, you know, if I have somebody who needs a huge amount of weight loss, and here I have this person who's a triathlete, and they're talking about their journey of, you know, running 26 miles and biking and doing all of these things, this person over here there's no relation in between. We always want to be able to have something relatable. We have hundreds and hundreds of stories that are relatable, even if ours isn't. We always want to make sure that we're going off of what they desire, what their goals are, and not our agenda, whenever possible. So great. Thanks, Wendy. Great add-ins. I love that. And yes, no one cares about your story. I know that's at UIA, David Wood will say it over and over and over. Say it with me. No one cares about your story. Yeah. No one cares about my story. They only care about their own story. Everybody say it. No one cares about my story. They only care about their own story, right? Yeah. So remember that, and don't take that personal. It's just the way we are. Our favorite thing to talk about is ourselves. It's just the way it is.
And Jojo, they want to hear themselves in you, right?
Yeah.
They want to hear
Right.
their story in your story.
Right. Because it gives them hope.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I would love to, I went through that really quick, and I'll post the sheet up so you guys can have it if you don't need it. But I would recommend that you go through, bullet point all of those things that have happened for you, like we did with Pam in the beginning. We bullet pointed all her things, and then we took one and built a story out of it. You're going to do that with every single bullet point heading that you have, and build another story. And so do one at a time. Don't feel like you have to do them all. Do one and practice it. Do another one and practice it. And we will help you refine them and make sure they're compliant. And, you know, sometimes it's just a matter of taking out a word or adding in a word that can just make it from good to great, right? And the more that you practice it, then it will become your own, where it just rolls off your tongue. At first, you're reading it off a piece of paper and you sound a little robotic, right? But the more you practice it, the more you can do it without that piece of paper, the more you can ad lib a little bit and put your personality into it, and that will, and make it your own. So totally. I would love to hear some questions, some takeaways, some ahas.
I was going to share a little bit. I know with David Wood, I think I did this at a training that he did, but when you sit down and you're writing out your 30-second story, like Jojo said, you find the 3 bullet points. Oftentimes you'll be able to say, like, you can take sleep, and that can be a whole different 30-second story. And then you can create a 30-second story about going to the gym, and you can write a 30-second story about being a better mom. And so out of that, like she said, you could have 15 different 30-second stories. And what you're going to find as you practice it more and more, whomever you're talking to, you're going to be able to find some piece of their pain in your previous pain. And so go with that, because you're going to connect with them. But the more you practice it, the more it's going to flow naturally, and it's not going to sound like something that you just came up with off the top of your head, and it sounds fake, I guess, is for lack of a better word.
Mm-hmm. Good. Sarah, what actually record? Is that what you're saying?
Recommend.
Oh, recommend. I'm sorry. Oh, I read that. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you actually recommend writing out like word for word? I'm a person, I guess, I'm really comfortable talking to people, which is why I tend to vomit words. I'm the word vomiter. which is why I've been talking to Crystal about this a lot. Like, I'm the one that needs to like cut it off. So I feel like I could be pretty good about cutting it down and cutting it short. And this form is awesome. But do you actually mean like writing sentences out? Because I'm a good person to follow bullet points, like in my head.
So they would be really sure. So what you could do, and there's different things, is you could write out your whole story and then take that and bullet point it down. That's one way to do it. You could take each of the headings of the things that have happened for you, so your results, to use them as your heading. So before I was this, so I was this. So I lost weight, right? Let's just take weight loss. So before Isogenics, my skinny jeans wouldn't fit me and it made me feel sad. And so bullet point 1, I hated every time I tried to put on my pants, they didn't fit. I didn't feel comfortable in my own skin. I constantly had cravings. So 3 things that would relate to something that would go back to weight loss. So really simple. And I mean, will they have a couple of more descriptors? They could, but we want to make them short sentences, not really long sentences.
Okay. Sounds good.
And then as you guys write them out and you get them ready, we're going to practice this. So each week we're going to call on someone else to do their 30-second story, or to pick one of their 30-second stories and do it for us. And then we'll start to help you and sort of, critique how we could make that better and support you through that. So everyone's got a really great story that feels comfortable for them. And I will promise you this, the more you practice it, the more it will become your own. You write it and then you like read it back and you're like, oh, that sounds like it's so, like I'm so reading it. But once you read it over and over and over, then you start to read it without the paper, right? Then you start to recite it without the paper. Then you start to recite it where you have your own personality in there. And the more that you do that, the easier it becomes.
I have a question.
Oh.
Go ahead, Sarah.
Okay. So Crystal, when she was first starting to talk to me, she used Christina's story. Mm-hmm. And I still draw on Christina's story. And Christina still hasn't told me her story yet. And I keep telling Christina, I need to hear it from your mouth. But Crystal actually used Christina's story, mm-hmm. because that's where I was at. And Crystal mm-hmm. has, shortly thereafter told me her story. But that's how powerful it is. Like, mm-hmm. I heard Christina's story and it like shot straight to my heart. And I was like, whoa, okay, I'm in. If it does that for some other person. And then Christina texted me the next day or a couple days after and said, hey girl, I know, I heard about you. I know what you're going through. You can do this. I'm here for you. And I mean, I'm telling you what, it made all the difference in the world. I don't even know what I bought. I bought a lot. And then a couple of weeks later, my husband bought the $700, the biggest weight loss pack. Mm-hmm. And now we're buying like, I don't know, so much. Like everything we buy now is Isogenics. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna cry. I mean, that's how much the story like touched me. So
well,
tell
Sarah, I used your story today. I used your story today
with the woman with lupus.
Yeah. But it's the same, like I didn't have a story, but your story resonated. And Christine's story resonated, when I was talking to you. So.
Yeah. So those other people's stories really mean something. And as long as you're genuine, like it's okay. Like it's still the same and it still comes across the same.
Become a master story collector, right? So when everyone's telling their story, it would be the time to like start jotting down, hey, Renee had this result and Will had this result. And these are people that I can pull their stories from and totally use them.
And
And
yes,
I
I'm talking about Christine Desimone.
Yes, yes.
I also love that, when I met Gabrielle Dean, and she was talking about, telling a few stories. And then she said, I just shut up and say, you know what? Put it in your body and let your body tell your story. And she said it just always worked because, you have nothing to lose. I mean, there's so much to gain, but she just would always go back to put it in your body and let your body tell you the results. And I've done that quite a bit now, and it has really worked. Just, letting them have their own story.
This is just one more tool. So this is a tool that leads to the next tool. It's a tool that leads to the next tool. When somebody says, well, how does it work? I don't know. I put it in here. Here, watch the video, right? Keep it simple. It goes in here, watch the video, right? Don't be a tool, use the tools.
I think that's a really good point that you made, Jojo, because it's something that I realized today is that I get so excited because I see the thousands of transformations that have happened and will continue to happen, that I sometimes, overpromise and underdeliver, right? That would be the opposite. And I like that, here, just put it in your body and allow your body to tell you, because I have no idea what it's going to do for you. I know something's going to happen, but why don't we go on this journey together and explore? Because your story is going to be, so amazing that somebody else is not going to have that, something relatable to you. I mean, we all can find a piece in each other's story, but each person's story is unique. So that was really powerful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sometimes I like to remind people that it's like, this is part of the surprise. We never know how it's going to react with different people. And I can't wait to find out how it's going to affect you.
I like that.
I had a question that, when Jojo had said next week we're going to have people like pick someone to share their 30-second story with, how many of you got nervous by a show of hands? A little bit nervous about sharing your story for all to provide feedback. Yeah, that's cool. That's normal. It's not pretty the first couple of dozen times.
Right? And, we can stay sitting in our own little comfort zone. We can stay there and the things that we want, the things that we see, the things that, are all the spice of life, sit on the outside of that comfort zone. We got to take that step to step outside of that. And this is a safe place. There's no other environment. Every single person in these little squares wants you to succeed. Every single person wants you is cheering for you. This is your cheerleading squad. There's not anybody on here that wants to see you fail and fall on your face. Like, nobody wants to see that. This is the safest environment to learn and grow in.
And I love that. Oh, go ahead, Jane.
Oh, sorry, jumping in here. I love this community. I just want to, shout out to all of you, because you guys are just amazing in supporting and helping. And then, Jojo, I did have a question on the 30-second rule of thumb: be compliant, keep it simple. And then that next one, no VV or something. What was that?
No verbal vomit.
Okay.
We call that VV. So if I'm going like this at you, that's verbal vomit. That means we're over talking.
Okay.
We're overdoing.
Thank you.
Remember, nobody wants to be puked on, right? So we think about it like that. Sometimes we get so passionate and so excited that it's just natural, because we want them to hear the whole thing. But no, not everyone's ready for the pie in the face, right? We want to give them a little sliver of pie, right?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for clearing that up.
You're welcome. Good job, everyone. So do you feel like you have a map of making your 30-second story? So you want your headings, make sure you write down all the things that have happened for you, all the results that you've experienced so far, break them down individually, and then create a 30-second story around each one. 3 things that were negative that go with that heading, and then 3 things at the bottom that have shifted based on the three things that you wrote at the top. Who
You said
introduced you? Go ahead.
You're gonna post that form in which group?
Yeah, I can, I'll post it, I'll post it everywhere.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you bet. Anyone else have a question, thoughts, takeaways? Who's got a big, huge aha takeaway?
Not about us. Not about me.
Yeah, not about me. I love this simplicity because I know the Isogenics business has the say, share, do. And when I was first asked to speak, literally, you know, I wrote a full page of my story, right? And I tried to memorize every single sentence. And then of course I just fumbled it because I got so nervous. And this just, in my head, I can almost like see it, you know, like before, you know, and then I introduced, it's like I can just walk it through. And of course I'm more comfortable just spewing out, and oftentimes I do verbally vomit all over people, but this is really, really helpful. So thank you.
Great, thank you.
I would say for me, the takeaway is just the power of other people's stories. And that doesn't have to be my personal experience. I can just be a professional storyteller.
Yep, absolutely. What do you do for a living? I collect friends and stories.
And Andy, how do you know what story to share with someone?
I think probably intuitively. I've heard so many times the name, the story comes to mind. I don't have to get all the details right, but as long as I make that connection, it's like, oh, that reminds me of my sister when this, and you remind me of my sister, and this is what happened, and this is how she felt, and this is how she feels, and this is, you know, this is what's happening in her life now.
So it sounds like you were listening to them first, and then you knew which story to share, right?
Yes. Yeah. Somebody's name pops up.
Perfect. Good stuff. All right. Pam, thank you so much for sharing your 30-second story and being our little guinea pig tonight. Appreciate you. And great job. And well, we're gonna create that whole story because you have such power, force, and light to share what's going on in your world, and you're going to touch so many people with that people deserve to hear that, and you deserve to share that with the world because it's going to touch a ton of people. Yeah, great. Okay.
I just want to say Isogenics is the best. My bee sting, my foot is not swollen anymore. I did the lavender oil. I did a couple extra telomere support and vitamin C and my complete essential pack tonight. And I have very little swelling now, so.
Good. And if it doesn't go down, hey, if it doesn't go down, Christina, reach out to me later. I have some suggestions for you.
Okay.
So thank you guys for being here and for stepping in. And I am so excited to hear your 30-second story. So I would recommend that you guys get some written down and then reach out to someone in the team and just share. Reach out to some of your prospect list, some of the people that have been kind of hanging out there, and ask them for some feedback. And I love that. So, so what are the 2 questions you're going to ask somebody? What did you like best? And what can I improve on? Right? So what did you like best and what can I improve on? Like if you reach out and say, hey, can you help me for a second? No, there's not anybody that's going to tell you no. And just say, what did you like best? What can I improve on? Be brutally honest. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I want to do this the best that I can.
And if you do, find a circle of friends.
Right?
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Good.
Sarah, is she still on? Or did she hop off? She's not on anymore.
Oh,
okay.
Looks like she popped off. Oh, she's there. Her little square is there, but I don't see her. So thank you guys. And so you know that we're hopping over to listen to Susan Sly's presentation tonight. So if you guys want to join in on that, you go to teamsuccesszoom.com to register. And I'm looking forward to hear. So you know what, you guys, when I decided to do this, the very first Isogenics what was it? Was it an Isogenics University? I think it was an ICU. Susan Sly was the very first person that I ever heard teach on the product. And back then we only had like, you know, maybe 7 products, maybe 8. But when I listened to her, I knew I was in the right place. Like when she broke down each product, it was like the angels started to sing. I realized that I really was in the right place. And when I went home and did my own research and really, you know, proved what she was saying, it changed everything for me. So she has such a grasp on these products and the ability that they have. So I'm excited to hear what she has to say tonight. So teamsuccesszoom.com. I don't know, what's tslg.rocks? What is that? I don't know what that is.
That's a specific link for this call tonight. It stands for Team Success Leader Growers.rocks.
Okay. So is that where we need to go, or we need to?
That's what she shared on the call. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
But you might, I'm wondering if it funnels into the same Zoom.
It might. I know I registered this morning at teamsuccesszoom.com. So I don't know if it's so either way, however you guys want to do it, but this one's great too. So if you want to pop in there, that would be great. And I just want to thank you all for hopping on. Thank you, Wendy, Crystal, Pam, for your shares. Thank you, Sarah, Anna, Jane. Appreciate you guys very much. Andy. Here we go. 30-second stories. Here they come. Okay. We're going to see. We're going to run through all of them and see. So next week we're going to have a special guest. So make sure that you put this on your calendar. So 5 o'clock on Tuesday should just be on your calendar. This is our team connection time. So make sure that you have it on your calendar. We're going to have an amazing guest next week who is a master at follow-up. And so she's going to come on and teach us some tips and tricks. So I will see you guys next week, or I will see you on Susan's call. So thank you, everybody. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye. Thank you. Thanks, Jojo. That was great.
Thank you.
Do you mind passing? Well, I guess I can download it, or you're going to put it in Forever Pack Business too?
Yeah, I can put it in all 3.
Okay, that's awesome.
Okay.
I think I at some point want to chat with you about how to put stuff in my units. I was doing it